Less than 100 years ago, our understanding of the universe grew in ways we never imagined. This happened when astronomer Edwin Hubble discovered that the Milky Way was not the only galaxy. He showed that our galaxy, which is estimated to host about 200 billion stars, is just one of many in a universe filled with countless other galaxies. This opened our eyes to how huge and vast the universe really is. In the past century, we've made incredible progress in learning about space. Cosmology, the study of the universe, has become a strong scientific field. Scientists have achieved amazing things, like figuring out what distant stars are made of and understanding how galaxies move in relation to our own. They've also learned how stars and planets are born and how they die, and they've gained knowledge about the structure of space and time. Because of these discoveries, we now see the universe in a way that our ancestors could not. It's a place of incredible forces, energy, order, and chaos. Perhaps most extraordinarily, parts of this universe become conscious of themselves. We live in a universe that our ancestors never imagined, and it is now apparent that making sense of our new cosmological picture requires a departure from old ideas and metaphors and the exploration of new frames on reality. Our journey begins with the observation that the way we talk about nature can ultimately be scaled to a grounding cosmic metaphor, which itself comes to serve as the lens through which we form our deepest questions about what we are and our place in the universe. Western science has gone through different stages, each shaped by a central idea or metaphor about the universe. At one time, the universe was thought of as a great mind. Later, it was viewed as a great machine. This idea of the universe as a machine has been so closely linked to science that many people think of them as the same thing. However, that's not true, and today, the machine metaphor no longer helps us understand the universe as it once did. Now, there are signs that our thinking is shifting towards seeing the universe as more like a living organism, maybe something that grows, evolves, and generates itself. This new way of thinking could help us understand the universe better and give us a deeper sense of our place in it. It's worth noting that many people have compared the universe to an organism throughout history, both in Western traditions and in other cultures. We'll talk more about that later. But to be clear, we're not saying that the universe is an organism. The universe is simply the universe. Whether it's more like an organism or a machine is something each person may feel differently about. How we see the universe might say more about us and our time in history than about the universe itself. Still, it's important to acknowledge that our understanding of the universe is improving. As we explore, it seems we can understand the universe better by thinking of it as a living organism than by using any other idea. Understanding seeing the universe as more like a living organism, we need to look at some of the historical influences that shaped Western science and how they affect the way we think today. The story we'll discuss here is a very brief summary, but it helps us understand the difference between earlier views and the idea of the universe as an organism. The idea that the universe is like a great mind came from early Greek philosophers around the 4th century BCE. Many cultures throughout history have seen the world as alive and filled with spirit. Greek thinking was influenced by older religions, which often believed that everything in nature had a soul or spirit. One of the most important Greek thinkers, Plato, created a worldview that's known as idealism. Plato believed that the physical world we see is actually a reflection of a higher, more mental reality. This higher reality, called the ideas, was a place where all things got their shape and purpose. In this view, nature had intention and purpose, meaning that things in the world acted with a goal. For example, a stone falling to the ground was thought to do so because it naturally wanted to be closer to the center of the earth. The ideas from Aristotle and Plato were taken up by early Christian scholars during the Middle Ages, who admired the ancient Greek culture. Plato's idea of a higher, perfect world of forms influenced and supported the Christian belief in heaven. In this higher world, they believed, there existed the highest transcendent good. As Christian theologians tried to separate themselves from older, nature-based religions, they saw more holiness in thinking that the creative force of the universe came from a power outside of this world known as God. This made the creative force feel distant from the world, except for rare moments of divine intervention. During this time, Christians were expected to view all aspects of life through the lens of Christian teachings. Questions about life, death, morality, and the meaning of existence were all explained by the Church's authority. Challenging the Church was almost unthinkable, and doing so could lead to exile, torture, or death. The focus of Christian theologians on the afterlife made people feel that the world they lived in was flawed, imperfect, and separate from God. Even though humans were made in God's image, living in this world was seen as being corrupted by sin and full of suffering. Gaining entrance to heaven became a difficult task that required a life of holiness and self-denial, while the fear of eternal punishment loomed over medieval Christian life. In the 17th century, the philosopher René Descartes had a big influence on how science developed. One of his key ideas was that mind and matter were two different parts of reality. His way of separating the mental and physical worlds helped create a boundary between the Church and the new science that was emerging. The mind and spirit were left to religion, while the physical world was open for scientific study. With this understanding, scientists were free to explore new ideas and ask bold questions. Soon, though, their discoveries started to challenge what was written in religious scriptures. Despite this, many early scientists were still Christian. For example, Isaac Newton, who helped create the idea of the universe as a machine, believed that God had set the universe in motion and then stepped back to let it run on its own. While we can't know exactly what Newton thought, he likely believed that behind the machine of nature was an all-powerful God. Over time, however, scientists and philosophers began to see that the machine model worked so well that they no longer felt the need to include supernatural forces like God in their explanations. They began to think that all of reality was made of matter. The machine metaphor became more popular, and soon everything, including the mind, was thought to be made of physical matter. While some ideas, like German idealism in the 18th and 19th centuries, offered different views, the growing scientific revolution described the world as a place without consciousness, value, or meaning. Even the human mind was thought to be just the result of biological processes, not something special or spiritual. By the mid-19th century, Charles Darwin's ideas had changed the way people thought about life. Darwin and others showed that all life came from a common ancestor and had evolved over time. This new way of thinking challenged the Christian story of creation. From this perspective, humans were just another type of animal, not special in any divine way. Evolution, according to this view, was simply about the passing of genetic material from one generation to the next. Life seemed to follow physical laws, which fit well with the machine model of the universe. Animals and plants were seen as machines, and so were humans. Eventually, the universe was also thought of as a machine, following unchanging natural laws without purpose. While humans became less important in the grand scheme of things, the idea of the universe as a machine helped explain huge advances in areas like medicine, anatomy, cosmology, and technology. It also gave a sense of stability to the worldview of modern, non-religious societies. The change in how we think about the universe is sometimes called the Copernican revolution. When people learned that Earth was not the center of the universe, this discovery challenged not only religious beliefs, but also the idea that human life had any special importance in the cosmos. The Copernican revolution was a movement where scientists and philosophers promised never to assume that humans had a central or special place in the universe again. Instead, people found comfort in the idea that science gave them power. With scientific knowledge, we could control nature and improve the world to suit our needs. This view was supported by the English philosopher Francis Bacon, who famously said, "Knowledge is power." Many modern thinkers believe that the view of the universe as a machine has shaped how we see the world today. While science freed people from the control of the Church, this new way of thinking also made humans feel less central to the universe. As science advanced, the human mind, its goals, and its values became less important in the big picture. Some scholars argue that this way of seeing the world, without meaning or purpose, has led to feelings of isolation and separation from nature, from other people, and from the larger universe. But is seeing the universe as a machine the best way to understand reality? Is it the only way to explain the scientific discoveries we've made? Over the past century, the machine view has been challenged by new ideas, leading to the rise of a different way of thinking, that the universe may be better understood as a living organism. We often look at the universe as a vast space full of stars, planets, and galaxies. But what if the universe is more than that? Some believe that it may have its own kind of consciousness or awareness, and this thought has fascinated people for many years. The idea of a conscious universe isn't new. Philosophers and scientists from different times and places have asked themselves this question. Could the universe itself be alive in some way? Could it think or feel, even if it's on a level that we don't yet fully understand? In our daily lives, we experience consciousness as something that seems to belong only to living things. We are aware of our surroundings, we think, and we feel. But there's a growing idea that consciousness might not just belong to living creatures like humans and animals. Some theories suggest that consciousness could be spread throughout the universe itself, in every star, every planet, and even in the space between them. This idea connects us to something much bigger. If the universe is conscious, then perhaps we are all a part of that consciousness. It could mean that our minds are not separate from the universe, but instead connected to it in a deep and meaningful way. For many years, scientists have explored the universe, looking for answers to big questions. They study the stars, the galaxies, and the forces that hold everything together. But some of these scientists, along with philosophers, have started to ask different kinds of questions. Instead of just asking how the universe works, they are starting to ask if the universe could have a mind of its own. One of the most interesting parts of this idea is that it changes the way we think about our place in the universe. If the universe is conscious, then we are not just small and insignificant. We become an important part of something far bigger. Our thoughts and feelings might be part of the thoughts and feelings of the universe itself. Of course, this is just a theory. There's no clear proof that the universe is conscious, and many scientists are still working to understand what consciousness is. But that doesn't mean we can't think about it. Just like people long ago looked up at the stars and wondered what they were, we can look at the universe and wonder about its consciousness. There are many theories that try to explain how the universe might be conscious. Some believe that the universe is like a living organism, and that just as our bodies are made up of tiny cells, the universe is made up of galaxies, stars, and planets that all work together in some way. Others believe that consciousness is something that flows through the universe, connecting everything. One theory that has gained attention is called Panpsychism. This theory suggests that consciousness isn't limited to living things like humans or animals. Instead, consciousness might be something that exists in all things, even in the smallest parts of the universe like atoms and particles. If this is true, then consciousness is everywhere and in everything. When we look at the stars at night, it's easy to feel small and disconnected. But if the universe is conscious, we may actually be deeply connected to it. Just as every part of our body is connected, from our hands to our feet, every part of the universe might be connected through consciousness. This gives us a new way of thinking about the world around us and our place in it. Some thinkers have even suggested that consciousness could be the very thing that creates the universe. They argue that without consciousness, there would be no one to experience the universe, and so the universe might not even exist in the way we understand it. In this view, consciousness and the universe are deeply linked, and one cannot exist without the other. The idea of a conscious universe also makes us rethink time. We often think of time as something that moves in one direction, including past, present, and future. But if the universe is conscious, perhaps time isn't as simple as we think. Some theories suggest that consciousness might exist outside of time in a way that's difficult for us to imagine. This could mean that the universe doesn't experience time in the same way we do, and that consciousness could be timeless. This brings us to an important question. If the universe is conscious, what does that mean for us? Are we just small parts of this larger consciousness, or do we play a more important role? Could our thoughts and actions affect the universe in some way, just as the universe affects us? Some believe that if the universe is conscious, then everything we do and think could have an impact, even if it's in ways we don't fully understand. This might mean that our individual consciousness is part of a much larger network, one that stretches across the entire universe. As we continue to explore this idea, it's important to remember that we don't have all the answers. The conscious universe theory is still just a theory, and we may never know for sure if the universe is truly aware of itself. But thinking about it can help us feel more connected to the world around us and give us a sense of wonder about the universe we live in. The idea of a conscious universe also touches on spirituality for many people. Different cultures have long believed that the universe or the earth is alive in some way, and that everything is connected through a shared energy or spirit. In these traditions, the idea of a conscious universe isn't a new one, it's something that has been believed for thousands of years. As we close our introduction to this fascinating idea, let's take a moment to reflect on the possibility that we are not alone in our consciousness. The universe, vast and mysterious, might be more alive than we ever imagined. And as we think about this, we can let our minds relax, knowing that we are part of something much bigger than ourselves. Whether or not the universe is conscious, thinking about it can bring a sense of peace and connection. Pandora's cluster is a group of stars and galaxies that came together from at least 4 different galaxy clusters after a massive collision in the distant past. In this image, you can see a mix of information. The red color shows X-rays, and the blue areas show where most of the mass is. Interestingly, the blue mass is in places where there's no visible light. That's what we call dark matter. In fact, about 75% of the mass in Pandora's cluster is dark matter. Scientists think dark matter makes up about 27% of the total mass in the universe, and most of the rest is something called dark energy. The strange part is that nobody really knows what dark matter or dark energy is. So, about 95% of the universe is still a mystery, even though we've been studying it for a long time. There are big unknowns at both the smallest and largest scales in the universe. It would be great if all these mysteries were connected by one simple idea, but we haven't found it yet. It's almost like the universe is playing tricks on us. One idea that tries to explain some of these mysteries is called Panpsychism, which suggests that consciousness might be a part of everything in the universe. The basic idea behind Panpsychism is simple but also controversial. Everything is conscious, including galaxy clusters and tiny particles, even someone in a coma. It's complicated, but the cells in their body and the molecules in those cells are in some way conscious. What makes Panpsychism interesting is how it explains certain mysteries. Maybe dark matter and dark energy don't really exist, and we only think they do because stars and galaxies choose to act a certain way. The same could go for small particles like quarks, electrons, and photons. They might not be so mysterious if they're actually making choices. We can sense a lot of things, including sights, sounds, and smells. Now, of course, small particles don't sense things like I do, but they do have properties like electric charge that interact with their environment. Electrons are attracted to positively charged particles and pushed away by negative ones. You could think of this attraction and repulsion as a type of perception. Since this attraction changes based on distance, it suggests that electrons have a point of view. You could say the same about almost anything that has properties and interacts with other things. This even applies to theoretical objects like magnetic monopoles or the strings in string theory. One of the reasons Panpsychism is so appealing is because it offers a way to explain some of the big mysteries of the universe. For example, we know that humans and animals are conscious, but we don't fully understand how consciousness arises. How do physical processes in our brain lead to awareness? Panpsychism offers an answer by saying that consciousness is already present at a fundamental level, even in the simplest parts of the universe. According to this view, consciousness doesn't suddenly appear in complex beings like humans. It's always been there, even in the smallest particles. This idea also challenges the traditional view that the universe is made up of two separate things, including matter and the conscious mind. In the traditional view, these two things are very different, and it's hard to explain how they interact. Panpsychism, however, suggests that matter and mind aren't separate, they're two sides of the same coin. Everything in the universe has both a physical side and a mental side. Now, let's take a step back and think about the universe as a whole. The universe is vast, with billions of galaxies, each containing billions of stars and planets. It's hard to even imagine the scale of it all. Panpsychism asks us to consider the possibility that the entire universe might be conscious in some way. Some people might find this idea strange or hard to accept, but others believe it offers a new way to think about the universe. If everything in the universe has some form of consciousness, then the universe itself might be seen as a kind of giant mind, with different parts of it experiencing different things. This doesn't mean the universe has thoughts or feelings like we do, but it does suggest that the universe is more than just a collection of physical objects. It might have a deeper, more complex nature, something like one that includes consciousness at all levels, from the tiniest particles to the largest galaxies. Panpsychism can also be used to explain some of the biggest mysteries in modern science, like dark matter and dark energy. Scientists believe that dark matter makes up about 27% of the universe, and dark energy makes up about 68%. Together, they account for 95% of the universe. But the strange thing is, we don't really know what dark matter or dark energy are. They don't seem to interact with light or any of the things we can easily observe. Panpsychism offers a different way of thinking about these mysteries. What if dark matter and dark energy don't really exist as separate things, but are instead the result of conscious choices made by stars, galaxies, and particles? In this view, the universe might behave the way it does not because of some mysterious forces, but because the parts of the universe are choosing to act in certain ways. Of course, this is just a theory, and it's not yet backed by scientific evidence. But it does show how panpsychism can offer new and creative ways of thinking about some of the biggest questions in science. One of the most interesting things about panpsychism is the idea that consciousness plays a key role in the universe. In traditional science, consciousness is usually thought of as something that comes from complex brains like ours. But in panpsychism, consciousness is everywhere and is a fundamental part of reality. This proposes some questions. If consciousness is present throughout the universe, could it play a role in shaping how the universe evolves? Could it influence the way stars, galaxies, and planets form? Could consciousness be responsible for the development of life? These are big questions, and we don't have the answers yet. But panpsychism invites us to think about the universe in a new way, one that doesn't separate mind from matter, but sees them as connected. When talking about panpsychism, of course, not everyone agrees with panpsychism. Some people think it's too far-fetched to believe that everything in the universe has consciousness. Critics argue that we don't have any solid evidence to support the idea, and it might just be wishful thinking. They believe that consciousness is something that only arises in complex beings, like humans, and doesn't exist in simple particles or objects. Others argue that even if panpsychism is true, it doesn't really explain how consciousness works. Just saying that everything has consciousness doesn't tell us how consciousness arises or what it means to be conscious. These criticisms are important, but they don't take away from the fact that panpsychism offers a new and exciting way of thinking about the universe. It definitely challenges us to rethink some of our most basic assumptions and opens the door to new possibilities. For centuries, people across the world have tried to understand their connection to the universe. Many cultures and spiritual traditions have believed that the universe is not just a collection of stars, planets, and empty space, but something much more alive and aware. These ideas of cosmic consciousness show up in different ways depending on the culture or belief system, but the common thread is the belief that everything in the universe is connected through a shared consciousness or spirit. In many Earth-based traditions, people believe that the Earth itself is alive. One well-known idea is the concept of Gaia, which comes from ancient Greek mythology. In this view, Gaia is the personification of the Earth, a goddess who represents nature and life. Gaia is seen as a living being that not only gives life to everything on the planet, but also interacts with the universe. The idea of Gaia connects humans, animals, plants, and the planet as parts of a greater whole. This concept was later expanded by scientist James Lovelock in the 20th century with the Gaia hypothesis. According to this idea, the Earth behaves like a living organism, regulating its environment to support life. While Lovelock's theory is based on scientific ideas, it still carries the idea that the Earth, like Gaia in mythology, is a self-regulating system that connects all living things. In this tradition, the Earth isn't just a physical place. It's part of a greater, living universe. Gaia symbolizes a deep connection between humanity and the cosmos, where the Earth is alive and plays an active role in the larger cosmic dance. In many Eastern spiritual traditions, the idea of a conscious universe is also central. One of the most important concepts in Hinduism is Brahman, which represents the ultimate reality or cosmic spirit. In this belief, Brahman is the source of all things. It is not a god or being with human qualities, but is instead the essence of everything. Everything in the universe, from the smallest grain of sand to the largest galaxy, is seen as part of Brahman. According to Hindu teachings, Brahman is both the universe and beyond the universe. It is everywhere and in everything, meaning that all of reality is connected by this universal consciousness. For those who believe in Brahman, the world we see is only one part of a much larger reality that is alive and aware. Each person, animal, and object carries a spark of this cosmic consciousness, connecting them to the larger whole. In Buddhism, a similar idea exists with the belief in interconnectedness. Everything in the universe is connected, and nothing exists on its own. All things are interdependent, meaning that every part of the universe affects every other part. In this way, the universe is seen as a single living organism, where all things are part of a greater whole. Many Native American traditions also view the universe as conscious, especially through their deep connection with nature. In these cultures, the natural world is seen as full of spirits, and everything, whether it is a tree, a river, a mountain, or an animal, has its own life force or spirit. This belief reflects the idea that the Earth and the universe are alive, and humans are part of this larger web of life. In many Native American cultures, the Earth and sky are seen as parents, Mother Earth and Father Sky, who work together to create and sustain life. The stars, planets, and everything in the cosmos are viewed as part of this family, alive and connected to human life on Earth. Ceremonies and rituals often honor these spirits, reflecting a deep respect for the living universe and the belief that humans are not separate from it. In Taoism, an ancient Chinese philosophy, the universe is seen as a living force called the Tao, which means the way. The Tao represents the natural flow of the universe, and everything in the cosmos is thought to be connected through this flow. Taoism teaches that the universe works in harmony, and that humans should live in tune with this natural order. In this tradition, the universe is not just a set of physical laws and objects, but a living, moving force that shapes and guides everything. The Tao cannot be fully explained or understood, but it is always present, and everything in the universe is part of its flow. By living in harmony with the Tao, humans can find peace and balance in their lives, recognizing their place in the larger living universe. While, in many African spiritual traditions, the idea of a living universe is also present. These traditions often focus on the idea that everything in the world has spiritual energy. This includes not only humans but also animals, plants, and even inanimate objects like rocks and rivers. This energy is thought to come from a larger source that connects everything, creating a sense of unity between the physical and spiritual worlds. In some African cultures, it is believed that ancestors live on through the natural world and continue to guide the living. The universe is seen as alive, full of spirits, and connected through this energy. This reflects a belief that the cosmos is not separate from life on Earth, but part of a larger conscious system. Even in the West, there are traditions that view the universe as a living entity. In the mystical writings of philosophers like Plato, the universe was seen as having a soul or mind. Plato believed that the world we see is a reflection of a higher, more perfect reality, and that this higher reality is alive with consciousness. In more recent times, some thinkers in the Western world have returned to the idea that the universe might be alive. These ideas suggest that the universe is like a giant organism, where everything is connected and works together to create a larger whole. While this view is not as common in mainstream Western thought, it shows that the idea of a conscious universe has roots in many different cultures and traditions. One of the oldest continuous cultural traditions in the world comes from the Aboriginal people of Australia, who believe in a concept known as Dreamtime. Dreamtime refers to the time when the ancestors shaped the land, created the animals, and established the laws and customs for human beings. In this belief system, the ancestors didn't disappear after their creations. They became part of the land, the sky, the rivers, and all aspects of nature. Every feature of the land is connected to these ancestors, and the earth itself is alive with their presence. For the Aboriginal people, there is no separation between the physical world and the spiritual world. All of nature is considered to be alive and full of meaning, and humans are deeply connected to this living universe through their relationship with the land. Everything has a spirit, and every part of the natural world is conscious in its own way. Dreamtime stories serve as a guide for how humans should live in harmony with the land, reinforcing the idea that the universe is not just a backdrop for human life, but an active, living force that interacts with people and guides them. In Japan, the spiritual tradition of Shinto teaches that everything in nature is filled with spirits or kami. These spirits are not limited to humans or animals. They are present in trees, rocks, mountains, rivers, and even in the wind and the sea. Shinto doesn't have a specific creator god or focus on an afterlife, but it proposes the sacredness of the natural world and the belief that everything in nature is connected through these living spirits. The kami are seen as guardians of the natural world, and people honor them through rituals, festivals, and offerings to maintain a harmonious relationship with nature. In Shinto, humans are not seen as separate or above nature. Instead, they are part of a living world that is full of divine presence. The universe, in this view, is conscious because of the kami that inhabit and guide it, making every part of the natural world sacred and alive. In Sufism, a mystical branch of Islam, there is a belief in the unity of all things and the idea that the universe is a reflection of God's consciousness. Sufis believe that everything in the universe is a manifestation of divine love and that all of existence is connected to the One or God. This connection is not just spiritual but deeply personal, as Sufis seek to experience the divine within themselves and in the world around them. Through poetry, music, and meditation, Sufis explore the idea that the universe is alive with God's presence and that by understanding the world, one can come closer to understanding the divine. The famous Sufi poet Rumi often spoke about the universe as a living, conscious being, with every part of it pointing back to the ultimate truth. For Sufis, the universe is not just a physical reality, but a living expression of divine consciousness, and human beings are a part of this cosmic dance. In ancient Maya and Aztec cultures, the universe was understood as a living entity that moved in cycles of creation and destruction. The Maya believed in the concept of sacred time, where the movements of the planets, stars, and the sun were all part of a cosmic rhythm that influenced life on Earth. These celestial bodies were seen as conscious entities, each playing a role in maintaining the balance of the universe. The Aztecs also believed that the universe was alive and that their gods required offerings and rituals to keep the cosmic order in balance. According to their belief system, the universe had been created and destroyed several times, and they were living in the fifth cycle, known as the fifth sun. The movements of the cosmos were not random, but part of a greater conscious design that connected all life on Earth to the heavens above. Through their rituals and ceremonies, the Aztecs sought to maintain their connection with the living universe and ensure that the cosmic cycles would continue. In more recent times, the idea of cosmic consciousness has been embraced by many New Age spiritual movements. These movements often draw from a mix of Eastern philosophies, indigenous beliefs, and scientific ideas, suggesting that the universe is made of energy that is alive and aware. Many people who follow these beliefs think that by tapping into this cosmic energy, individuals can reach higher levels of awareness and understanding. The concept of universal consciousness is often linked with the belief that everything is interconnected through energy fields or vibrations, and that the universe is constantly communicating with us. Practices like meditation, energy healing, and mindfulness are ways to align oneself with the conscious energy of the universe. For many in these modern spiritual movements, the universe is not just a physical space, but a living field of consciousness that we are all part of. As we explore the mysteries of consciousness and the universe, one name of Erwin Schrödinger often comes up. Schrödinger was a physicist best known for his contributions to quantum mechanics, especially the famous thought experiment called Schrödinger's cat. But beyond his work in physics, Schrödinger had a deep interest in the nature of consciousness and how it might connect to the universe at large. In fact, Schrödinger developed a philosophical idea that is still discussed today, known as unified consciousness. This idea suggests that consciousness is not something that belongs to individual beings alone, like humans or animals. Instead, consciousness might be something that is shared by everything in the universe. Schrödinger's theory is an attempt to connect the strange behavior of particles in quantum mechanics with the mysteries of the mind and consciousness. Before knowing about Schrödinger's idea of unified consciousness, it's important to have a basic understanding of quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics is the science that deals with the behavior of very small particles, such as electrons and photons, which make up the building blocks of everything in the universe. The strange thing about these particles is that they don't follow the same rules that larger objects do. For example, in the quantum world, a particle can exist in multiple places at the same time. This idea is called superposition. Particles can also be entangled, which means that if you affect one particle, it instantly affects another particle, even if they are far apart. This has led scientists to believe that, at a very small scale, everything in the universe is connected in ways that are difficult to fully explain with everyday logic. Schrödinger was one of the early pioneers of quantum mechanics, and he was deeply curious about what these strange behaviors might tell us about reality. But he was also interested in a different mystery, which was consciousness. Now, consciousness is something we experience every day. It's the feeling of being aware, of thinking, feeling, and sensing the world around us. But despite how common consciousness is, we still don't fully understand what it is or how it works. One of the biggest questions in science is how the brain, which is made up of physical cells, produces consciousness. How do chemical and electrical signals in our brains lead to the experience of being aware? This is often called the hard problem of consciousness, and it remains one of the biggest mysteries in both science and philosophy. Schrödinger believed that the answers to this question might lie in quantum mechanics. He had a deep interest in consciousness and its connection to the universe. Schrödinger proposed a theory that challenges the way we usually think about the mind. He believed that consciousness is unified, meaning that there is only one shared consciousness in the entire universe. This idea, known as unified consciousness, suggests that the division we feel between our individual minds and the rest of the world is not real. Instead, Schrödinger argued that the consciousness each of us experiences is just a part of a single greater consciousness that exists across all living beings and possibly beyond. Unified consciousness is a philosophical concept that Schrödinger developed based on his study of both quantum mechanics and ancient Eastern philosophies. The core idea is that the consciousness we experience is not separate or unique to each individual. Rather, it is shared, and all beings are part of one larger, unified mind. In our everyday experience, it seems like we each have our own separate thoughts, feelings, and awareness. But Schrödinger believed this was an illusion. He suggested that all individual consciousnesses are actually connected, like different branches of the same tree. While it feels like we are separate from one another, we are all drawing from the same source. In his view, what we see as our personal thoughts and experiences are just different parts of this one shared consciousness. This doesn't mean that we lose our sense of identity. Instead, it suggests that our awareness comes from a larger, universal mind that unites all living things. Schrödinger's idea of unified consciousness was simple but radical. He believed that consciousness is not something that belongs to individual beings alone, but rather, it is something that is shared by all living things. In Schrödinger's view, the consciousness we experience as individuals is just one small part of a much larger, unified field of consciousness that spans the entire universe. In other words, there is only one consciousness in the universe, and every living being is part of it. Schrödinger believed that the idea of separate, individual consciousnesses is an illusion. While it feels like we each have our own private minds, in reality, we are all connected by the same underlying consciousness. This idea of a shared consciousness ties into the principles of quantum mechanics. Schrödinger was especially influenced by the curiosity of entanglement, where two particles can be connected in such a way that changes in one particle instantly affect the other, no matter how far apart they are. Schrödinger saw this as evidence that the universe is deeply interconnected. Just as particles are linked through entanglement, Schrödinger believed that consciousness is also interconnected across the universe. Schrödinger's theory of unified consciousness is deeply connected to his work in quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics, the branch of physics that studies the smallest particles of the universe, shows us that the world at its smallest levels behaves in strange and unexpected ways. Schrödinger believed that the weirdness of the quantum world could help explain the nature of consciousness. One of the most important ideas in quantum mechanics is entanglement. This is when two particles become connected in such a way that they can instantly affect each other, even when they are far apart. Schrödinger thought that this deep connection between particles might also apply to consciousness. Just as particles are linked together, Schrödinger believed that all consciousness could be connected, forming one unified whole. He also found the idea of the observer in quantum mechanics very important. In quantum experiments, particles don't seem to take on a definite state until they are observed. This suggests that the act of observing, an action that requires consciousness, can influence reality. Schrödinger believed that this connection between observation and reality hinted that consciousness might be more fundamental to the universe than we thought. Schrödinger's ideas weren't influenced only by science. He was also deeply inspired by Eastern philosophies, particularly those found in Hinduism and Buddhism. In these spiritual traditions, there is a belief that all living beings share a common consciousness, and the idea of a separate self is seen as an illusion. In Hinduism, the concept of Brahman refers to the ultimate reality that is present in everything. According to this view, the individual self or Atman is not separate from Brahman, but is a part of it. This idea strongly influenced Schrödinger's belief in a unified consciousness. Similarly, Buddhism teaches that everything in the universe is interconnected and nothing exists independently. Schrödinger saw parallels between these teachings and the discoveries of quantum mechanics. He believed that, just as quantum mechanics shows us that everything in the universe is connected at a deep level, these ancient philosophies reveal that our minds are connected in a similar way. If his idea of unified consciousness is correct, it means that our experience of being separate, individual minds is not the full story. In reality, we are all part of a much larger whole. Our thoughts, emotions, and awareness come from this shared consciousness, even though it feels like they belong only to us. Imagine a vast ocean. Each individual wave that rises on the surface of the ocean might seem separate from the others, but they are all made of the same water. In the same way, Schrödinger believed that each person's experience of consciousness is like a wave on the surface of a greater unified mind. This doesn't mean that our personal thoughts and feelings are unimportant. Rather, it suggests that we are connected to something much bigger than ourselves. Our minds are like small parts of a larger whole, and when we are conscious, we are experiencing just one aspect of this greater shared awareness. Another key idea in quantum mechanics that influenced Schrödinger's thinking is the role of the observer. In many experiments, particles don't seem to take on a definite state until they are observed. Before they are observed, they exist in a state of superposition where they can be in multiple states at once. It is only when an observation is made that the particle chooses one specific state. This idea, that reality might depend on whether or not it is being observed, has led some to suggest that consciousness plays a fundamental role in shaping the universe. Schrödinger believed that if consciousness plays a role in determining the state of particles, then consciousness might be much more important to the universe than we previously thought. This led him to propose that consciousness is not just a byproduct of the brain, but is a fundamental part of the universe itself. While Schrödinger's theory of unified consciousness is fascinating, it is also met with skepticism. Some scientists argue that there is no clear evidence to suggest that consciousness is shared across the universe. Many researchers believe that consciousness arises from the brain's complex activity and that it is a personal experience that cannot be spread across the universe. Others believe that even if quantum mechanics and consciousness are connected, it doesn't necessarily mean that all consciousness is one. They argue that while quantum mechanics might reveal a new way of thinking about reality, it doesn't automatically lead to the idea of a single unified consciousness. The link between quantum physics and consciousness is another interesting point, where, at the same time, the idea of the universe working like a giant neural network has gained attention. Neural networks are systems of connections, like the ones in our brain, where information flows and changes over time. In this view, the universe could be thought of as a vast network, where everything is connected and consciousness plays a role in this connection. One of the most interesting ideas in quantum physics is the role of the observer. In many quantum experiments, particles don't seem to choose a specific state until they are observed. Before an observation is made, a particle exists in a state of superposition, meaning it can be in many different states at once. But as soon as it is observed, the particle seems to settle into one definite state. This has led some scientists and philosophers to suggest that the act of observation might play a key role in shaping reality. If observing a particle changes its behavior, then perhaps consciousness, the thing doing the observing, is somehow linked to the way the universe works at a fundamental level. This idea opens up questions about whether consciousness could be more than just a product of the brain. The connection between quantum physics and consciousness is still a subject of debate, but some theories suggest that consciousness might arise from quantum processes happening inside the brain. One idea is that the brain might function like a quantum computer, where information is processed using the strange principles of quantum physics. For example, quantum particles can exist in multiple states at once, and they can become entangled, allowing for instant communication between distant particles. Some researchers believe that these quantum effects could be happening inside the brain, allowing for complex thought processes and possibly even consciousness itself. While this idea is still in its early stages, it raises an interesting question. Could consciousness be a result of quantum mechanics? If the brain operates using quantum principles, it might explain why consciousness is so difficult to understand using traditional scientific methods. Quantum physics could offer new insights into how our minds work and how they are connected to the universe. Another idea that connects quantum physics and consciousness is the view of the universe as a neural network. A neural network is a system where many individual units, called neurons, are connected and interact with one another. In the brain, neurons send signals to each other, allowing us to think, feel, and process information. Some scientists and thinkers believe that the universe itself might work in a similar way. Just like the neurons in our brain, the fundamental particles of the universe might be connected in a vast network, constantly interacting and sharing information. In this view, the universe would be like a giant brain, where everything is linked together in a web of connections. This idea is supported by quantum physics, which shows that particles can be entangled across vast distances. These particles remain connected no matter how far apart they are, suggesting that the universe might be more like a network than a collection of individual objects. If the universe is a giant neural network, then consciousness could be one of the key elements in this network. Just as neurons in the brain create our awareness and thought processes, the particles of the universe might work together to create a kind of universal consciousness. This would mean that consciousness is not just something that happens inside our brains, but is instead part of the very fabric of the universe. If quantum physics and consciousness are connected, it could change the way we think about both the mind and the universe. One of the biggest mysteries in science is the hard problem of consciousness, the question of how physical processes in the brain can lead to the experience of being aware. Quantum physics could provide a new way to approach this problem by suggesting that consciousness is not just a result of the brain's activity, but something more fundamental to the universe itself. This raises many questions. For example, if consciousness is linked to quantum processes, does that mean that all particles in the universe have some form of awareness? Could consciousness be a property of the universe itself, spread out across everything, from the smallest particles to the largest galaxies? These are questions that scientists and philosophers are still exploring, and we are only beginning to scratch the surface of what they might mean. While the idea of linking quantum physics and consciousness is popular in some discussions, many scientists are skeptical. Critics argue that just because quantum physics is strange and difficult to understand, it doesn't mean it has anything to do with consciousness. They point out that there is no solid evidence to show that the brain works like a quantum computer or that consciousness arises from quantum processes. In fact, most neuroscientists believe that consciousness can be explained by the activity of neurons in the brain without the need to involve quantum mechanics. According to this view, consciousness is the result of electrical and chemical signals in the brain, and while it is still not fully understood, it doesn't require quantum explanations. Imagine the universe not as a collection of stars, planets, and empty space, but as something alive. This idea, that the universe itself could be seen as a living entity, has fascinated people for centuries. It suggests that the universe is not just a machine made of lifeless parts, but is more like a giant organism, with everything in it connected and working together in harmony. When we think of life, we often think of things like plants, animals, and humans. But what if life could be something larger, something that includes the whole universe? The concept of the universe as a living entity invites us to imagine that every part of the cosmos, every star, planet, and galaxy is part of a greater unified system that grows, changes, and evolves over time. In a living organism, all parts work together to keep it alive and functioning. Your body, for example, is made up of different systems like your heart, lungs, and brain, and each has their role. Even though these parts are different, they all work together to help you survive. The universe, in this view, could be seen in the same way. Each star, planet, and galaxy might be like a part of a larger system, playing its role in the overall balance of the cosmos. This doesn't mean that the universe is alive in the same way that a human or an animal is. It doesn't have a brain or thoughts. But the idea suggests that the universe behaves in a way that is similar to living things. It constantly changes, adapts, and evolves. Just like cells in a body, galaxies and stars could be seen as parts of a much bigger organism that is constantly in motion. One of the reasons people think of the universe as alive is because of the energy that flows through it. The universe is not a still, quiet place. It is full of movement and change. Stars are born, live for billions of years, and then die in dramatic explosions. planets form and orbit stars, while galaxies spin and sometimes even collide with one another. This constant movement and energy can make the universe seem alive, as it is always in a state of change and transformation. In this way, the universe is not just a lifeless space, it is full of activity and energy, always growing and evolving, just like a living organism. Just as living things grow and change over time, so does the universe. The universe began billions of years ago with the Big Bang, a massive explosion that started the expansion of everything we see today. Since then, the universe has been growing, with galaxies moving farther apart as space itself stretches. This expansion is ongoing, and scientists believe that the universe will continue to evolve for billions of years to come. In a way, the universe is constantly being born, growing, and transforming. Stars and planets are created, and over time, new ones replace the old. This cycle of birth and death is similar to what we see in living organisms. In this sense, the universe is not a static thing, it is alive with change and growth. One of the most important ideas behind the concept of the universe as a living entity is that everything is connected. Just like the different parts of your body work together, all the parts of the universe may be connected in ways that we don't fully understand yet. This idea is supported by discoveries in modern science, especially in quantum physics. We know that particles can be connected or entangled even when they are far apart from one another. This suggests that the universe might be more interconnected than we realize. If we think of the universe as a living entity, it encourages us to see ourselves as part of something much bigger. We are not separate from the cosmos. Instead, we are deeply connected to it, just as cells are connected to the body they make up. This view can give us a sense of belonging and purpose, as it reminds us that we are a small but important part of a vast living system. In this view of the universe, the Earth is not just a planet floating in space. It is part of a larger living system, with life playing a central role. The idea of Gaia, which comes from ancient mythology, suggests that the Earth itself behaves like a living organism. All the different ecosystems on Earth, like forests, oceans, and even the atmosphere, work together to support life. This idea can be expanded to the whole universe, with Earth playing its role in the grand system of the cosmos. From this perspective, life on Earth is not separate from the rest of the universe. Instead, it is part of the natural order of the cosmos. The Earth, with all its life, is like a cell in the larger body of the universe, playing its role in the ongoing cycle of creation and change. While the universe doesn't have a heartbeat or a mind, it behaves in ways that remind us of living things. It is constantly in motion, growing, changing, and interacting. From the smallest particles to the largest galaxies, everything in the universe is part of a complex, interconnected system. This idea helps us see the universe as more than just a collection of distant stars and planets. It is a dynamic, living system, with each part contributing to the whole. The concept of the universe as a living entity invites us to think about our place in the cosmos in a new way. It encourages us to see the bigger picture, to recognize that we are part of something much larger and more connected than we often realize. Just as the cells in our bodies work together to keep us alive, we too are part of the universe's grand system of life and energy. One of the key reasons people imagine the universe as a living entity is the patterns we see across different scales. For example, when we look at images of galaxies spinning in space, they sometimes suggest the patterns we see in natural systems here on Earth, like the spirals of seashells or the growth of plants. These patterns suggest that the same forces that shape life on Earth may also be at work throughout the universe. At the smallest scale, cells in our body, particularly nerve cells or neurons, look similar to the vast webs of galaxies that make up the universe. It's as if the universe itself has its own structure, almost like a cosmic brain, where galaxies play the role of neurons in a much larger system. These similar patterns at different levels of existence, from microscopic to cosmic, add to the idea that the universe might behave like a living organism, growing and expanding according to natural laws. In living organisms, energy flows constantly to keep everything working smoothly. The same is true for the universe. Stars produce energy through nuclear fusion, which is then released as light and heat. This energy travels across space, influencing everything it touches. Planets like Earth absorb this energy and use it to support life. But the flow of energy doesn't stop there. When stars die, they release their materials back into the universe, which then become the building blocks for new stars, planets, and even life. This cycle of creation, death, and rebirth is a lot like the way energy flows through living systems. In this sense, the universe is not static. It is always in a state of motion, with energy constantly moving and transforming. Just as living things rely on the flow of energy to grow and survive, the universe depends on the continuous flow of energy to keep evolving. The stars, planets, and galaxies all participate in this cosmic dance, exchanging energy and helping to shape the universe's structure. Another reason to think of the universe as a living entity is its ability to self-regulate. Just as the human body keeps itself in balance through systems like the immune and nervous systems, the universe also seems to have mechanisms that keep it stable. For example, the laws of physics, such as gravity, work across the universe to maintain order. Gravity pulls objects together, helping stars form and planets stay in orbit. Even though the universe is expanding, gravity ensures that galaxies don't just fly apart. In this way, gravity acts as a force that holds everything together, just like how living organisms have systems that maintain balance within their bodies. Additionally, the cosmic background radiation left over from the Big Bang is spread almost evenly across the universe. This radiation acts as a kind of cosmic temperature, helping to regulate the conditions that allow stars and galaxies to form. This balance between energy, matter, and physical laws keeps the universe in a state of harmony, much like the systems that keep living beings healthy and functional. Some people believe that if the universe is alive, it might also have a form of awareness. In the same way that our brains are made up of billions of cells that work together to create consciousness, could the universe, made up of countless stars and galaxies, also have some form of awareness? This idea doesn't mean the universe has thoughts or feelings like a person, but it suggests that consciousness might be spread throughout the universe in ways we don't yet understand. Some scientists and philosophers propose that just as living organisms can sense and respond to their environment, the universe might also have a way of reacting to changes and maintaining its overall balance. This suggests a possibility that consciousness is not something that only happens in the brain, but could be a fundamental part of the universe itself. If we accept the idea that the universe is a living entity, it raises interesting questions about the role of humanity. Are we just small, insignificant beings in a vast universe, or do we play a part in its larger system? In the same way that individual cells in your body each have a role to play in keeping you alive, humans might have a role in the larger system of the universe. Our ability to think, learn, and explore may contribute to the universe's growth and evolution. By understanding the universe and our place in it, we are participating in the larger system, helping it develop. This perspective can also encourage a greater sense of responsibility. Just as we take care of our bodies to stay healthy, we might also need to take care of the Earth and the universe around us. Seeing ourselves as part of a living universe can help us recognize the importance of protecting and preserving the environment, as well as encouraging our continued exploration of space. For centuries, people have viewed Earth as a planet full of life. However, the idea that the Earth itself might behave like a living organism is something that challenges our way of thinking. This concept is called the Gaia hypothesis, a theory that suggests Earth is not just a collection of plants, animals, oceans, and mountains, but that it functions as a single self-regulating system, almost like a living being. The Gaia hypothesis was proposed in the 1970s by British scientist James Lovelock. The theory is named after Gaia, the ancient Greek goddess of the earth. His idea was simple: that our planet Earth behaves like a living organism, working to maintain the right conditions for life. According to the Gaia hypothesis, all living and non-living parts of Earth work together to create a balanced, stable environment. This includes everything from plants and animals to the atmosphere, oceans, and even the rocks beneath our feet. The theory suggests that life on Earth doesn't just adapt to its environment, it actively helps shape and control it. In other words, life and the planet are interconnected in a way that keeps Earth habitable. The Gaia hypothesis suggests that Earth has self-regulating systems that work like the body's systems. Just as your body controls its temperature, heart rate, and breathing to keep you alive, the Earth controls things like temperature, ocean salinity, and oxygen levels to maintain life-friendly conditions. For example, let's think about oxygen. Plants and trees release oxygen into the air through photosynthesis, which animals and humans need to breathe. If oxygen levels become too low, it could threaten life on Earth. According to the Gaia hypothesis, Earth's systems, including plants, help regulate oxygen levels to keep them stable. Another example is the temperature of the Earth. Over millions of years, Earth's temperature has stayed within a range that allows life to survive, even though the sun has become hotter. This stability could be due to the Earth's ability to regulate its own temperature like a thermostat. The planet does this through natural processes, such as the absorption of carbon dioxide by plants and oceans, which help to cool the planet when necessary. These are just a few examples of how the Earth may regulate itself, working to keep conditions balanced for life. One of the key ideas in this hypothesis is that living things like plants, animals, and microorganisms, and non-living things like air, water, and soil all work together to create a healthy planet. Each part of the Earth plays a role in maintaining the environment, just like each part of your body helps keep you healthy. For instance, trees take in carbon dioxide from the air and release oxygen. This helps regulate the levels of gases in the atmosphere. Meanwhile, the oceans absorb large amounts of carbon dioxide, helping to reduce the amount in the atmosphere and control the planet's temperature. In this way, life on Earth isn't just a passive part of the environment. It plays an active role in shaping the planet, contributing to the processes that keep the environment stable and suitable for living things. In turn, the Earth's natural systems provide the conditions that allow life to thrive, creating a feedback loop where life and the planet support one another. The Gaia hypothesis suggests that Earth behaves like a living organism, but does that mean Earth is truly alive? According to Lovelock, the hypothesis doesn't claim that Earth is alive in the same way humans, animals, or plants are. Instead, it proposes that Earth functions like a living organism because it is able to maintain its own balance and keep conditions right for life. In this sense, Earth might not have consciousness or emotions, but it does have systems that respond to changes and help keep the planet stable. This hypothesis also reminds us of the delicate balance needed to keep Earth healthy. If Earth is like a living system, then human actions that damage the environment, such as pollution, deforestation, and the burning of fossil fuels, can throw that system out of balance. For example, by releasing too much carbon dioxide into the air, humans are contributing to global warming, which affects the Earth's ability to regulate its temperature. This could lead to changes that make the planet less stable and less hospitable to life. Understanding Earth as a living system can inspire a sense of responsibility. Just as we take care of our bodies by eating well and staying healthy, we need to take care of our planet to keep it functioning properly. This hypothesis helps us see that all life on Earth is connected, and what we do to one part of the planet can affect the whole system. The Gaia hypothesis also highlights the role of life in regulating the Earth's environment. In this view, life is not just a passenger on a lifeless planet, rather it plays an active role in shaping and maintaining the environment. For example, consider the role of phytoplankton in the oceans. Phytoplankton are tiny organisms that live near the surface of the ocean and produce oxygen through photosynthesis. They'd also help cool the Earth by releasing a chemical called dimethyl sulfide, which encourages cloud formation. These clouds reflect sunlight and help regulate the planet's temperature. In this way, tiny life forms in the ocean contribute to the global climate system. Similarly, forests play a huge role in regulating the Earth's climate. Trees take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen, helping to keep the atmosphere in balance. Forests also play a role in the water cycle by absorbing and releasing water, which helps regulate rainfall and maintain ecosystems. These examples show how life on Earth is not just adapting to the environment. It's actively shaping the planet to maintain conditions that support life. In this way, the Gaia hypothesis suggests that life and the environment are deeply interconnected and that both work together to create a stable, balanced system. Another important aspect of the Gaia hypothesis is the role of microorganisms in maintaining Earth's balance. Microorganisms are tiny living organisms, such as bacteria and fungi, that play a crucial role in many of the Earth's systems. For example, in the nitrogen cycle, certain bacteria in the soil help convert nitrogen from the air into forms that plants can use to grow. Without these microorganisms, plants would struggle to get the nutrients they need, which would disrupt ecosystems and food chains. These tiny organisms are an essential part of Earth's life support system, helping to maintain the balance of nutrients in the soil and atmosphere. Microorganisms also play a key role in breaking down organic matter and recycling nutrients. When plants and animals die, microorganisms break down their bodies, returning vital nutrients to the soil. This process helps sustain plant life and supports the entire food chain. In this way, microorganisms are like the Earth's recycling system, ensuring that nothing goes to waste and that life can continue to thrive. These examples show that even the smallest forms of life play an essential role in maintaining the balance of Earth's systems, further supporting the idea that the planet functions as a unified, living system. While the Gaia hypothesis has inspired a lot of people, it has also faced criticism from some scientists. Critics argue that the Earth doesn't intend to regulate itself, and that what we see as self-regulation is just a result of natural processes working by chance. They point out that life on Earth has survived through periods of extreme change, such as ice ages and mass extinctions, which suggests that the planet doesn't always maintain perfect balance. However, supporters of the Gaia hypothesis argue that the Earth's ability to recover from these extreme events actually supports the idea that it acts like a living system. Just as a living organism can survive injuries and heal over time, the Earth has shown resilience in the face of major disruptions. For example, after the extinction of the dinosaurs, life on Earth eventually bounced back and new species emerged, filling the gaps left behind. This shows that the planet has the ability to adapt and continue supporting life, even after dramatic changes. Supporters also point to modern environmental challenges as a reason to take the Gaia hypothesis seriously. As human activity causes changes in the environment such as climate change, deforestation, and pollution, Earth's natural systems are being pushed to their limits. If we understand Earth as a living system, we can see how important it is to protect the processes that keep the planet in balance. In this way, the Gaia hypothesis encourages a more holistic approach to environmental conservation, one that recognizes the deep connections between life and the environment. Consciousness is our awareness of the world around us, our thoughts, feelings, and experiences. But what if consciousness doesn't just belong to humans or animals? What if it plays a larger role in the universe, helping to shape reality itself? When we think about creation, one of the most important questions is how life began. Some believe that life emerged purely through physical and chemical processes. But others wonder if consciousness played a role in the creation of life itself. Could it be that life was not just a random event, but that consciousness somehow helped guide the process? For example, some thinkers suggest that the universe might be fine-tuned to support life. This means that certain physical conditions, such as the strength of gravity or the balance of forces in atoms, are perfectly set for life to exist. Some believe that consciousness might have played a part in this fine-tuning, helping to create the right conditions for life to develop. On a more personal level, consciousness is central to our own ability to create. Everything we build, design, or imagine comes from our conscious mind. Artists, writers, and inventors all use their consciousness to come up with new ideas, solve problems, and bring things into existence. Without consciousness, the human ability to create would be impossible. In this way, consciousness acts as the driving force behind all human creation. Our awareness allows us to think beyond what already exists and imagine new possibilities. This is why consciousness is often seen as one of the most important parts of the creative process. Whether we are painting a picture, writing a book, or building a new technology, it is our consciousness that allows us to bring these creations into the world. Finally, some thinkers take the idea even further, suggesting that the entire universe might be a conscious creation. According to this view, the universe is not just a collection of random particles and forces, but something that has been shaped by consciousness. This could mean that consciousness is not only a product of the universe, but also a key factor in the universe's creation and ongoing evolution. If this is true, then consciousness is not something that happens within the universe. Instead, it is part of the universe itself, helping to shape reality in ways we are only beginning to understand. This idea raises profound questions about the role of the mind in the universe and whether consciousness is one of the building blocks of creation itself. Moreover, life and consciousness seem to be closely connected. Without life, there wouldn't be any consciousness, at least not in the way we know it. But life also depends on consciousness to some extent. Consciousness allows living beings to interact with their environment, make decisions, and grow. For humans, consciousness is what allows us to think, feel, and imagine. But consciousness might not be limited to humans. Some animals are also aware of their surroundings in their own way. Even plants show signs of being aware of their environment, responding to light and water. This suggests that consciousness might be a more common part of life than we think. If the universe is responsible for creating life, it might also be responsible for creating consciousness. Just as stars formed out of clouds of gas and dust, consciousness may have emerged naturally as the universe evolved and created the conditions for life. Some people take this idea even further, suggesting that the universe itself might have some kind of consciousness. This doesn't mean that the universe has thoughts or feelings like a person. Instead, it suggests that consciousness could be a part of the universe in the same way that matter and energy are. In this view, consciousness is not something that just exists inside our heads. It is something that the universe created and continues to create, shaping how living beings experience the world. The universe may be built in such a way that consciousness is a natural outcome of its development. If we think of consciousness as something the universe has created, then it becomes a product of the universe's evolution. Just as the universe evolved from the Big Bang to the formation of galaxies and stars, it also evolved to create life and, eventually, consciousness. This means that consciousness could be part of the larger story of the universe. It's not something separate from the physical world, but a natural result of the universe's ongoing growth. The idea that the universe is capable of producing awareness suggests that consciousness is not a random accident, but something that was always part of the universe's plan. Another interesting idea is that consciousness might play a role in shaping reality itself. Some scientists and philosophers believe that the act of observing or being aware of something can change the way it behaves. In quantum physics, for example, particles don't seem to settle into one state until they are observed. This has led some people to believe that consciousness plays an active role in shaping the physical world. If this is true, then consciousness isn't just something that exists, it's something that helps shape the universe. This idea makes consciousness a key part of the universe's ongoing process of creation. One way to think about consciousness is to imagine how it might have emerged as the universe evolved. In the very beginning, after the Big Bang, the universe was nothing more than hot gas and energy. Over time, matter began to form, leading to the creation of stars, planets, and galaxies. As the universe cooled and became more complex, the right conditions for life started to appear. Life on Earth began in simple forms, such as single-celled organisms. But as life evolved and became more complex, consciousness began to emerge. Simple forms of life might not have had the type of awareness we think of today, but over billions of years, living organisms developed the ability to sense their surroundings, react to stimuli, and eventually become aware of themselves. This process can be seen as the universe creating consciousness step by step. It didn't happen all at once. Just as stars and planets formed over millions of years, consciousness slowly evolved as life became more advanced. For many living things, consciousness plays an essential role in survival. Being aware of the environment helps animals avoid danger, find food, and communicate with others. Consciousness allows us to make choices, think about the future, and even reflect on ourselves. Without it, life as we know it would be very different. Some scientists and thinkers believe that consciousness was a natural development built into the very fabric of the universe. In this view, once the universe created the conditions for life, it was only a matter of time before consciousness appeared as well. Life and consciousness go hand in hand, and together, they might be part of the larger purpose or function of the universe. While we often think of consciousness as something special to humans, it's likely that other forms of life also have their own levels of awareness. Many animals show signs of intelligence and self-awareness. Dolphins, for example, can recognize themselves in a mirror, and elephants are known to show signs of grief when a member of their group dies. Even plants, though they don't have brains, are able to respond to their environment in ways that suggest a kind of awareness. They grow towards sunlight, sense when there's a lack of water, and even communicate with each other through their roots. This suggests that consciousness might not be limited to creatures with brains, but could exist in many different forms throughout nature. If consciousness is something the universe created, then it might not be something that belongs to only a few species. It could be spread across all forms of life, from the smallest bacteria to the largest animals, each with its own way of experiencing the world. Some thinkers take this idea even further, suggesting that consciousness could be universal. This means that the universe itself might have some form of consciousness, or at the very least, that consciousness is a fundamental part of the universe's structure. In this view, consciousness isn't just something that developed inside living beings. Instead, it's something that has always been present in the universe, waiting for the right conditions to emerge in physical form. Just as energy and matter are essential parts of the universe, consciousness might also be a basic component, woven into the very fabric of reality. This idea leads to the concept of a conscious universe, where everything is interconnected and consciousness exists at many different levels. It suggests that there could be a larger, universal mind or awareness that connects all living things, and maybe even the universe itself. Have you ever looked up at the stars and wondered how everything seems so perfect for life to exist? It's almost as if the universe was created just for us. But is that really the case? Could it be that the universe is fine-tuned for life? In this video, we'll explore what fine-tuning means, why it's important, and whether or not the universe was made for humans. First, let's talk about what fine-tuning means. When scientists say the universe is fine-tuned, they mean that the basic forces and conditions that make up the universe seem to be just right for life to exist. These forces include things like the strength of gravity, the charge of electrons, and the balance of matter and energy. If any of these things were slightly different, life, at least as we know it, might not be possible. Imagine building a house. You need the right materials, measurements, and conditions for it to stand. If the walls are too weak or the roof isn't the right size, the house will collapse. In the same way, the universe has certain conditions that allow it to support life, and those conditions seem to be just right, as if someone set them with purpose. One way to think about fine-tuning is by using the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. In the story, Goldilocks tries different bowls of porridge, chairs, and beds until she finds ones that are just right, not too hot, not too cold, not too hard, not too soft. Similarly, the universe seems to have just right conditions for life. If gravity were a little stronger, stars might burn out too quickly. If it were weaker, stars might never form. The balance of forces in the universe allows stars to shine, planets to form, and eventually life to exist. These conditions seem so precise that it raises the question, why are things so perfectly balanced? Was the universe designed for life, or is it just a coincidence? Some people believe that fine-tuning could simply be a coincidence. After all, we only notice the universe is fine-tuned because we're here to observe it. This idea is called the anthropic principle, which basically means that the universe has to be the way it is, because if it weren't, we wouldn't be here to ask the question in the first place. In other words, we exist in a universe that supports life because, if it didn't, we wouldn't be alive to wonder about it. While this idea seems logical, it doesn't really answer the bigger question, why is the universe like this to begin with? So, was the universe made for us? This is where things get interesting. Some people believe that the fine-tuning of the universe is evidence that there's a purpose behind it, that the universe was created by a higher power or designed to support life. This is known as the design argument. According to this view, the universe isn't just a random accident, but something created with intention. Others believe that while the universe seems fine-tuned, it could just be a natural outcome of the laws of physics. In this view, the universe didn't have to be made for us. Instead, life adapted to the conditions of the universe. Just like plants and animals adapt to their environments, life on Earth may have adapted to the universe's conditions, not the other way around. Another idea that might explain fine-tuning is the multiverse theory. This theory suggests that our universe is just one of many universes. In some of these universes, the conditions might be too extreme for life to exist. In others, they might be similar to ours or completely different. If there are countless universes, it's possible that we just happen to live in one where the conditions are right for life. Think of it like a lottery. The odds of winning are really low, but if there are millions of people playing, someone is bound to win. The multiverse theory suggests that we're living in the universe that won the lottery by having the right conditions for life. To understand the idea of fine-tuning better, let's look at how delicate the balance of the universe really is. The forces that govern our universe, like gravity, electromagnetism, and the strong nuclear force, all need to be within a very narrow range for the universe to exist as it does. Take gravity, for example. If the force of gravity were even slightly stronger, stars would burn out much faster. This would leave less time for planets to form, and life as we know it wouldn't have had a chance to develop. If gravity was slightly weaker, stars and planets might not have formed at all, meaning there would be no life anywhere. The fact that gravity is just right is one of the key reasons we're able to exist. Another example is the balance between matter and antimatter. When the universe was born, after the Big Bang, it created equal amounts of matter and antimatter. If this balance were perfect, they would have completely destroyed each other, leaving nothing behind. But for some reason, there was just a little more matter than antimatter, allowing galaxies, stars, and planets to form. This slight imbalance made it possible for everything we see around us to exist. Carbon is another critical element when it comes to the fine-tuning of the universe. All known life is based on carbon, and without it, life as we know it wouldn't be possible. The way carbon forms in stars is a perfect example of fine-tuning. Inside stars, lighter elements like hydrogen and helium fuse together to form heavier elements. But for carbon to form, very precise conditions are needed. If the forces in stars were slightly different, they wouldn't be able to produce enough carbon, and without carbon, there would be no life. This process is so finely balanced that it's hard to believe it happened by accident. It's one of the reasons why some people think that the universe was set up specifically to support life. While it's easy to see the universe's fine-tuning as evidence that it was made for us, another way to look at it is that life adapted to the universe. Over billions of years, life on Earth evolved to fit the conditions of our planet and the universe. Just like animals have adapted to their environments, life may have simply evolved to survive in the specific conditions of the universe. In this view, life wasn't designed to fit the universe. Instead, the universe's conditions allowed for life to evolve. Over time, life forms developed in ways that made them suited for the environment they found themselves in. In other words, life evolved to fit the universe, not the other way around. Another idea to consider is that the fine-tuning of the universe might simply be the result of chance. Some scientists believe that the conditions of the universe were determined randomly when the universe began. In this case, we just happen to live in a universe where the conditions are right for life. If the universe had different conditions, life might not exist, or life might exist in a form we can't even imagine. Perhaps there are other possible forms of life out there that don't rely on the same forces or conditions that we do. The idea that life could be very different under other conditions opens up new possibilities for how we think about life beyond Earth. One question that comes to mind when we talk about fine-tuning is whether the universe is fine-tuned only for humans, or if it's possible that other forms of life, very different from our own, could exist somewhere else. Life as we know it depends on water, carbon, and certain chemical reactions. But what if there are other kinds of life that don't need these things? For example, scientists have considered the possibility of silicon-based life, which could exist in conditions very different from Earth's. This raises the question, could the universe support life forms that are completely unlike anything we've ever seen? If so, the fine-tuning of the universe might not be just for humans or Earth-based life, but for all kinds of life we haven't yet discovered. The idea of fine-tuning has also sparked philosophical and spiritual discussions. Some people see the fine-tuning of the universe as proof of a higher purpose or intelligent design. They believe that the universe was created intentionally with life in mind. This view suggests that there is a greater reason behind the existence of life, and the universe's conditions are part of a plan. Others take a more scientific approach, seeing fine-tuning as something that can be explained by the laws of physics or chance. They argue that the universe's conditions just happen to turn out in a way that supports life, without any intentional design behind it. This debate between science and philosophy highlights one of the most important questions we face. Is there a reason behind the universe's fine-tuning, or is it just a random occurrence? Regardless of how you view fine-tuning, one thing is clear. It makes us think deeply about our place in the universe. The fact that the conditions for life are so precise reminds us how special and fragile life is. Whether the universe was made for us or we just happen to evolve in it, the fine-tuning of the universe makes us curious about the nature of reality and our role in it. It encourages us to keep asking questions about the universe, exploring new ideas, and seeking a better understanding of the world around us. This sense of curiosity is at the heart of science, philosophy, and even spirituality. By exploring these big questions, we can gain a greater appreciation for the universe and our place in it. When we think about evolution, we usually think of physical changes in living organisms over time, animals adapting to their environments, plants evolving to survive in different climates, and humans developing the tools needed to thrive. But what if consciousness itself is part of this evolutionary process? Could it be that consciousness is not just a result of evolution, but also a driving force that helps shape the future of life and the universe? Consciousness, in its simplest form, is the awareness that living beings have of themselves and their surroundings. For humans, it involves thinking, feeling, and making decisions. But even simpler life forms, like animals and plants, show signs of awareness in their ability to sense and respond to the environment. Over time, life has developed more complex forms of consciousness, from the basic awareness of simple organisms to the self-awareness and intelligence we see in humans today. In the traditional view of evolution, life adapts to survive better in its environment. Consciousness, in this sense, might have evolved as a survival tool. For example, animals with a greater awareness of their surroundings are more likely to avoid danger, find food, and reproduce. But consciousness doesn't just help life survive, it also allows living beings to make choices and shape their own future. For humans, consciousness has played a huge role in our evolutionary journey. Unlike other animals, humans have developed self-awareness, the ability to think about ourselves, our actions, and our future. This has allowed us to change the way we interact with the world in ways that no other species can. Humans have used consciousness to invent tools, create complex societies, and shape the environment. Our ability to think ahead and plan for the future has led to advancements in technology, science, and culture. Consciousness has driven us to ask questions about the universe, develop new ideas, and improve our understanding of the world around us. In this way, consciousness has become one of the most powerful forces in human evolution, helping us not only adapt to our surroundings, but also transform them. As consciousness continues to evolve, it has the potential to take life beyond mere survival. In the past, evolution was driven by the need to survive and reproduce, but consciousness has opened up new possibilities. Instead of simply adapting to survive, humans are now able to shape the world around them in more intentional ways. We can make choices that go beyond basic needs, such as protecting the environment, exploring space, and advancing technology to improve our quality of life. This ability to think beyond survival suggests that consciousness could guide the next stages of evolution. Rather than being shaped only by natural selection, life could evolve through the conscious choices of intelligent beings. As humans continue to develop technology and gain a better understanding of the universe, consciousness might play an even bigger role in determining the future of life. One of the most exciting ways consciousness might evolve is through the development of technology. Over the last century, humans have created technologies that have dramatically changed the way we live. From computers to artificial intelligence, technology is becoming more and more integrated with human life, and it is shaping the future of our species. In the future, it's possible that technology could help us expand our consciousness in ways we can't yet imagine. Some scientists believe that as technology advances, we may one day be able to enhance human consciousness through brain-computer interfaces or other technologies that allow us to access more information, think more clearly, or even communicate in new ways. This could mark the next step in human evolution, where consciousness isn't limited to the natural abilities of the brain, but is expanded through technology. In this sense, consciousness could evolve alongside technology, allowing us to explore new possibilities and push the boundaries of what it means to be aware. But the evolution of consciousness may not be limited to humans. As we explore the universe, it's possible that we will encounter other forms of life that have their own kinds of consciousness. These life forms might have evolved in ways that are very different from us, with levels of awareness that we can't even comprehend. This raises the possibility that consciousness might play a role in the evolution of the universe itself. Just as life has evolved on Earth, the universe as a whole may be evolving, with consciousness playing a central role in that process. As more intelligent life forms develop, they may help guide the future of the universe, shaping it in ways we can't yet predict. Some scientists and thinkers have suggested that the universe could be moving towards a state of greater consciousness, where intelligent life plays a key role in shaping the future of the cosmos. If consciousness is an evolutionary force, it could be driving the universe toward greater complexity, awareness, and understanding. As we look to the future, the role of consciousness in evolution becomes even more important. Whether it's through artificial intelligence, the exploration of space, or the development of new technologies, consciousness is likely to play a major role in shaping the future of humanity and the universe. The more we understand consciousness, the more we may be able to harness its power to guide evolution in positive directions. Conscious beings could shape not only their own future, but also the future of life and the universe. In this sense, consciousness is not just a byproduct of evolution, but a driving force that has the potential to transform the future. As consciousness evolves, another exciting possibility is the growth of collective intelligence. This is when groups of individuals, whether humans, animals, or even machines, work together to solve problems or make decisions. We already see this in human societies, where teamwork and collaboration allow us to achieve more than any one person could on their own. As technology continues to connect people through the internet, social media, and other communication tools, our collective intelligence is growing. People all over the world are able to share knowledge, work together on complex challenges, and develop new ideas faster than ever before. This is just one way that consciousness is evolving, not just as an individual experience, but as something that can grow and expand through the connection of many minds. In the future, collective intelligence could become even more powerful. Imagine a world where humans and AI systems work together to solve problems, make decisions, and shape the future of society. As more minds come together, both human and machine, the possibilities for innovation and progress could be limitless. One of the most exciting frontiers for the evolution of consciousness is space exploration. As we look beyond Earth and begin to explore the rest of the universe, we may discover entirely new ways of thinking and experiencing consciousness. For example, humans have always been shaped by the environment they live in. On Earth, we have evolved to survive in a specific climate with gravity, sunlight, and certain atmospheric conditions. But what happens when humans begin to live and work in space or on other planets? These new environments might lead to changes in how we think, feel, and perceive the world around us. It's possible that as humans explore new worlds, our consciousness will evolve to meet the challenges of living in space. We might develop new ways of thinking, communicating, and interacting with the universe. In this way, space exploration could become a catalyst for the evolution of consciousness, pushing us to adapt to environments that are completely different from anything we've known before. Another possibility for the future of consciousness is the creation of artificial consciousness. While we are still a long way from creating machines that can truly think and feel like humans, scientists and engineers are working hard to develop AI systems that can understand the world in ways that mimic human consciousness. If we are able to create artificial consciousness, it could revolutionize the way we think about intelligence and awareness. These machines could help us solve problems, explore the universe, and even expand our understanding of what it means to be conscious. Some even believe that artificial consciousness could eventually surpass human consciousness, becoming more advanced and capable than any living being. This raises interesting questions about the role of consciousness in the universe. Could artificial consciousness become the next step in the evolution of awareness? If so, what would that mean for humanity and our place in the cosmos? As consciousness evolves, it also brings with it the responsibility to guide evolution in ethical ways. Human consciousness gives us the ability to reflect on our actions, consider their impact on others, and make decisions based on principles like fairness, kindness, and respect. In the future, as we gain more power over the world around us through technology, space exploration, and potentially even artificial consciousness, it will be more important than ever to ensure that our decisions are guided by ethical principles. Consciousness, in this sense, is not just about thinking or being aware. It's about using that awareness to shape a better future. We are already seeing this in discussions around climate change, AI development, and space exploration. As consciousness evolves, it gives us the ability to not only understand the world, but to shape it in ways that are fair, sustainable, and beneficial for all living beings. Some scientists and philosophers suggest that the universe itself may be evolving toward greater consciousness. In this view, consciousness is not just a byproduct of life on Earth, but an essential part of the universe's own development. Just as galaxies, stars, and planets evolve, consciousness might be an important part of this cosmic process. If consciousness continues to evolve and expand throughout the universe, it could play a key role in guiding the future of life and the cosmos. Some even suggest that the universe might be evolving toward a state of higher consciousness, where intelligent beings, whether human, alien, or artificial, play a key role in shaping reality. This idea opens up new possibilities for the future of consciousness. As life continues to evolve and spread across the universe, consciousness may become a driving force in the evolution of not just life, but the universe itself. And to survive in a specific climate with gravity, sunlight, and certain atmospheric conditions. One of the most common questions people ask when thinking about the universe is, what is the meaning of life? This question has been asked for thousands of years by philosophers and spiritual teachers alike. While there is no single answer that everyone agrees on, it's a question that helps guide our thoughts about who we are and why we are here. Some people find meaning in connection, whether it's connecting with other people, nature, or the universe itself. Others find meaning through personal growth, creativity, or exploring the mysteries of existence. For some, the search for meaning is tied to spirituality, where life is seen as part of a greater whole, often guided by forces or principles that are beyond human understanding. Whether through personal reflection, meditation, or spiritual practices, many people find that thinking about these bigger questions gives them a sense of peace and purpose. In many spiritual traditions, there is the belief that everything in the universe is connected. This idea of oneness suggests that all living beings, nature, and even the universe itself are part of a single unified whole. From this perspective, separation is an illusion and everything is deeply linked. This belief is present in various philosophies and religions. In Eastern traditions, such as Buddhism and Hinduism, the idea of unity is central. The concept of Brahman in Hinduism refers to the ultimate reality that is present in everything, while Buddhism speaks of interdependence, where every part of the universe affects every other part. For many, this understanding of oneness leads to feelings of compassion and respect for all living beings. It encourages the idea that by helping others, we are also helping ourselves because we are all connected. Another common reflection is about our place in the universe. The sheer size and complexity of the cosmos can make us feel small and insignificant. But at the same time, realizing that we are part of something so vast and incredible can bring a sense of wonder and humility. Some people find comfort in knowing that we are all made of stardust. The same elements that make up stars, planets, and galaxies are also found in our bodies. This connection to the universe reminds us that we are not separate from it, but are deeply woven into its fabric. From a spiritual perspective, this sense of being part of the universe can help us feel grounded, connected, and supported. It reminds us that while life may be full of challenges, we are part of something much bigger than ourselves. Many people also reflect on the idea of purpose. Is there a reason the universe exists? Is there a reason we are here? These are questions that don't have easy answers, but they are central to both philosophy and spirituality. For some, purpose is found through religious or spiritual beliefs, where life is seen as part of a larger plan. For others, purpose comes from within, through personal experiences and choices. This can mean living a life that brings happiness to oneself and others, or it can mean exploring the unknown and expanding one's understanding of the world. The idea of purpose can be as unique as each individual, but it remains one of the most important reflections that shape how we live our lives. Finally, one of the greatest reflections is the mystery of existence itself. Why does the universe exist at all? How did it begin, and what will happen in the future? Many spiritual traditions propose the idea that some mysteries will never be fully understood. Instead of seeking concrete answers, they focus on accepting the unknown and finding peace in the journey of exploration. In philosophy, this approach is often about embracing the mystery and allowing it to spark curiosity, creativity, and deeper inquiry. For many, reflecting on the mysteries of existence brings a sense of awe and wonder. It reminds us that while we may not have all the answers, the search for understanding is what gives life its richness and depth. One of the most interesting reflections comes from the balance between science and spirituality. Science gives us facts and helps us understand the physical workings of the universe, how stars form, how planets move, and how life evolves. But spirituality helps us think about the universe in a more personal, emotional, and reflective way. Some people see these two approaches as opposites, but many find that they can complement each other. Science can show us how the universe works, while spirituality helps us explore how that knowledge affects our sense of purpose and meaning. For example, understanding the vastness of space through science can inspire feelings of awe and humility, which are often central to spiritual experiences. This balance reminds us that while science explains the how of the universe, spirituality helps us explore the why. Both approaches can work together, giving us a fuller picture of our place in the cosmos. A key part of many spiritual practices is the focus on the present moment. This practice is often called mindfulness, where we pay attention to what is happening right now without worrying about the past or the future. It's a way of connecting with ourselves, our surroundings, and the universe in a calm and clear way. Mindfulness can be a powerful tool for reflection. By focusing on the present moment, we can appreciate the simple things in life. The feeling of the air around us, the sound of the wind, the warmth of the sun. These moments remind us that we are part of something bigger and that even in the smallest experiences, there is beauty and connection. In a world where we are often distracted by stress, technology, and the fast pace of life, mindfulness offers a way to slow down and reflect on our connection to the universe. It teaches us that peace and clarity can be found when we focus on the here and now, rather than constantly chasing after what's next. Many spiritual traditions speak of transcendence, the idea that we can move beyond the limits of our everyday experiences and connect with something greater. This concept suggests that there is more to life than what we can see, touch, or measure, and that by opening our minds, we can reach deeper levels of understanding and awareness. Transcendence can take many forms. For some, it's about connecting with the universe in a spiritual way, through meditation, prayer, or reflection. For others, it's about experiencing moments of deep joy, love, or peace that seem to go beyond the ordinary. These moments remind us that there is something special about being alive, something that goes beyond the physical world. In a philosophical sense, transcendence invites us to think beyond our everyday lives and ask big questions. What is the nature of reality? Is there something more to existence than what we experience day to day? These reflections help us explore the universe from a different perspective, one that seeks to understand not just the physical world, but also the emotional and spiritual layers of existence. Many spiritual traditions suggest the importance of being connected with nature. Nature is often seen as a reflection of the universe itself, is beautiful, powerful, and full of life. By spending time in nature, we can connect with the earth, the sky, the water, and the living beings that share our world. For many, nature offers a sense of peace and clarity. The rhythm of the natural world, from the changing of the seasons to the cycles of life, can remind us of our own connection to the universe. In nature, we see the balance of life and death, growth and decay, and the ongoing process of renewal. Some people find spiritual meaning in caring for the environment, seeing it as their responsibility to protect the earth and all its living creatures. This sense of connection and responsibility helps us remember that we are not separate from nature, but a part of it. Another important aspect of philosophical and spiritual reflection is the practice of gratitude. Gratitude is the act of recognizing and appreciating the good things in life, no matter how small. It's a way of focusing on what we have rather than what we lack. When we take time to be grateful, we often realize how much there is to appreciate. Whether it's the beauty of a sunset, the kindness of a friend, or the feeling of being alive, gratitude helps us see the richness of life. In spiritual traditions, gratitude is often seen as a way of connecting with the universe, showing respect and appreciation for the gifts of existence. Gratitude can also shift our perspective, helping us find peace and contentment even in difficult times. By focusing on the positive, we open ourselves to the joy that can be found in everyday life, and we strengthen our connection to the universe and the people around us. Another deep reflection, often found in both philosophy and spirituality, is the awareness of mortality. The knowledge that life is finite makes many people reflect on the importance of the time we have and how we choose to live it. Mortality encourages us to ask about what legacy will we leave behind. What will our actions mean in the bigger picture of life and the universe? For some, this reflection leads to a deeper appreciation of life and the present moment. For others, it sparks a desire to make a meaningful impact, whether through kindness, creativity, or personal growth. Spiritual traditions often frame mortality as part of a greater cycle of life, death, and rebirth, offering comfort and perspective on the inevitable changes that life brings. Finally, many people reflect on the idea that life is a journey, one that every person and living thing is part of. Whether we think about this in terms of personal growth, spiritual development, or the broader evolution of the universe, life is a continuous process of change and discovery. In this journey, we face challenges, experience joys, and learn along the way. By reflecting on the nature of this journey, we can find a sense of purpose and direction. The idea that we are all part of something bigger, moving toward greater understanding and connection, can give us hope and motivation to keep moving forward. The question of the meaning of life is one that has been asked by people for thousands of years. From ancient philosophers to modern thinkers, we've all wondered at some point, why are we here? What's the purpose of it all? The search for meaning is something that everyone experiences in their own way. And while there may not be one single answer, the question itself is at the heart of both philosophy and spirituality. From the moment we become aware of ourselves, we start to wonder about life's purpose. For some people, meaning comes from personal connections like family, friendships, and love. For others, meaning is found in achievements, helping others, or learning about the world. Some people find purpose in spirituality, feeling that life is part of a greater plan or order. There's no single answer to the question of life's meaning. It's personal and can change depending on where we are in life and what we're experiencing. The search for meaning is a journey, and it's something that evolves as we grow. Consciousness is the awareness we have of ourselves and the world around us, and is at the core of our search for meaning. It's what allows us to reflect on our lives, to ask the big questions, and to wonder why we are here. Without consciousness, we wouldn't be able to think about the purpose of life at all. Consciousness gives us the ability to think beyond our basic needs. While other animals are focused on survival, finding food, staying safe, and reproducing, humans have the unique ability to think about why we exist. We can imagine different futures, create goals, and explore ideas that go beyond the physical world. This is why consciousness is so closely tied to the search for meaning. Our awareness of life, time, and even death leads us to ask, what should we do with the time we have? Consciousness allows us to look beyond the present moment and reflect on the bigger picture of existence. Throughout history, different cultures and philosophies have offered various perspectives on the meaning of life. For some, life's purpose is tied to happiness, finding joy, fulfillment, and peace in the things we do. For others, life is about growth and learning, improving, and becoming better versions of ourselves. Some spiritual traditions see life as a journey toward a higher understanding or connection with the universe. In Buddhism, for example, the idea of life's meaning is tied to finding inner peace and understanding the nature of suffering. In Christianity, the meaning of life is often seen as living in alignment with God's plan. On the other hand, some philosophies, like existentialism, argue that life doesn't come with a preset meaning, and it's up to each person to create their own purpose. According to this view, meaning isn't given to us, it's something we choose and shape through our actions and decisions. One of the most interesting ideas is that consciousness itself might be the key to creating meaning in life. Since we are aware of ourselves and our surroundings, we have the power to define what matters to us. Our thoughts, feelings, and experiences allow us to shape our own sense of purpose. Some people find meaning through relationships, where connection with others brings fulfillment. Others find meaning through work or creativity, feeling a sense of purpose when they contribute something to the world. Consciousness allows us to choose what is important to us, giving each person the freedom to create their own path in life. In this sense, the meaning of life isn't something that is given to us from the outside, and it's something that comes from within. Our conscious awareness of life's possibilities allows us to decide what matters, whether that's love, knowledge, or something entirely unique to each individual. While each person's sense of meaning is unique, there is also the question of whether there is a universal meaning to life. Is there a purpose that applies to everyone, or is it all up to the individual? This question has been debated by philosophers, spiritual teachers, and thinkers for centuries. Some believe that there is a higher universal purpose behind life, one that connects all living beings and the universe itself. In this view, life is part of a greater whole, and each person plays a role in the grand scheme of things. For some, this sense of unity brings comfort, knowing that their life has a purpose that fits into something larger. Others believe that life's meaning is not universal, but personal. They argue that meaning is something that each person must find for themselves based on their experiences, beliefs, and values. In this view, there is no single answer to the meaning of life, but instead, many different paths to finding purpose. One of the reasons the question of life's meaning is so powerful is because it touches on the mystery of existence. Why are we here? How did life begin? What happens when life ends? Consciousness allows us to ask these questions, but it doesn't always provide clear answers. For some, the mystery itself is a source of meaning. The fact that we don't have all the answers can inspire a sense of wonder and curiosity about the universe. It encourages us to keep exploring, learning, and seeking understanding. In this way, consciousness isn't just a tool for thinking about meaning, and it's part of what makes life feel meaningful in the first place. One of the most common ways people find meaning in life is through their experiences. These experiences can be as simple as spending time with loved ones, enjoying nature, or creating something new. The key to finding meaning through experiences is paying attention to the present moment and recognizing the importance of the small things in life. For example, sharing a laugh with a friend, watching a sunset, or overcoming a personal challenge can all give us a sense of fulfillment. These moments may seem ordinary, but they can carry deep meaning because they remind us of the beauty and richness of life. Consciousness allows us to feel these moments fully, making them important parts of our life's journey. Sometimes, meaning comes from facing difficulties. Overcoming challenges, whether big or small, can give us a sense of purpose and growth. It helps us see how strong and capable we are, and it can lead to a deeper appreciation of life. One of the most common ways people find meaning in life is through their experiences. These experiences can be as simple as spending time with loved ones, enjoying nature, or creating something new. The key to finding meaning through experiences is paying attention to the present moment and recognizing the importance of the small things in life. For example, sharing a laugh with a friend, watching a sunset, or overcoming a personal challenge can all give us a sense of fulfillment. These moments may seem ordinary, but they can carry deep meaning because they remind us of the beauty and richness of life. Consciousness allows us to feel these moments fully, making them important parts of our life's journey. Sometimes, meaning comes from facing difficulties. Overcoming challenges, whether big or small, can give us a sense of purpose and growth. It helps us see how strong and capable we are, and it can lead to a deeper appreciation of life. Another way people find meaning is through personal growth. Life is a journey where we are constantly learning, evolving, and becoming more of who we are. Personal growth doesn't always mean achieving big goals. Sometimes it's about learning from our mistakes, becoming more compassionate, or understanding ourselves better. When we grow as individuals, we often feel a stronger sense of purpose. Consciousness plays a key role in this because it allows us to reflect on who we are, what we've been through, and where we want to go. Through self-reflection, we can see how far we've come and set new goals for the future. Personal growth is often about becoming the best version of ourselves, and this process can bring a deep sense of satisfaction and meaning. Whether it's learning a new skill, improving our relationships, or finding inner peace, personal growth adds layers of meaning to our lives. One of the most powerful ways to find meaning in life is through connection and our relationships with others and the bonds we build. Consciousness allows us to form deep connections with the people around us, whether they are family, friends, or even strangers. When we connect with others, we often feel a sense of purpose. Helping someone, sharing our thoughts, or simply being present with another person can give us a feeling of belonging and meaning. These connections remind us that we are not alone in the universe. We are part of a web of relationships that bring joy, support, and understanding. Beyond personal relationships, some people find connection with the natural world. Spending time in nature, whether it's walking through a forest, swimming in the ocean, or watching animals, can remind us of the beauty and complexity of life. For many, nature brings a sense of peace and meaning, helping them feel connected to the larger world around them. Creativity is another source of meaning for many people. Whether it's painting, writing, building, or playing music, creating something can bring a sense of fulfillment and purpose. Consciousness allows us to express our thoughts, ideas, and emotions in unique ways, and the act of creation can help us feel more connected to ourselves and the world. Creativity doesn't have to be limited to the arts. It can be found in everyday life, solving problems, thinking of new ideas, or finding innovative ways to help others. Consciousness gives us the power to imagine new possibilities and bring them into reality. In this way, creativity becomes a way of shaping our world and finding meaning through the things we build, the ideas we explore, and the stories we tell. For many, creating something that lasts, a book, a song, a piece of art, gives a sense of legacy, something that will live on beyond their own life. It becomes a way to leave a mark on the world and contribute to the ongoing story of life. One of the most unique aspects of human consciousness is our ability to think about the future. We are not limited to the present moment. We can imagine what comes next, set goals, and work toward the things we want to achieve. This ability to think about the future is closely tied to finding meaning, as it gives us a sense of direction and purpose. Whether we are planning our next career move, dreaming of starting a family, or thinking about how to make the world a better place, consciousness allows us to envision possibilities and work toward them. This future-looking aspect of consciousness is one of the reasons humans have been able to create advanced societies, develop technology, and explore the mysteries of the universe. By thinking about the future, we also create meaning for ourselves. Our dreams, ambitions, and hopes for what lies ahead shape our sense of purpose. Consciousness allows us to imagine the life we want to live and take steps toward making it a reality. One of the most empowering ideas about the meaning of life is that we have the freedom to create our own meaning. Consciousness gives us the ability to reflect on our lives and decide what is important to us. Whether it's through love, creativity, personal growth, or helping others, the meaning we find in life comes from our own choices and experiences. We are not bound by a single definition of purpose. Each person has the opportunity to define what makes life meaningful to them. This freedom is a gift that comes from being conscious, aware, and able to think deeply about the world around us. While the question of life's meaning may not have a simple answer, the beauty of consciousness is that it allows us to explore that question in ways that are personal and unique. We can find meaning in small moments, big ideas, relationships, and dreams for the future. Consciousness gives us the power to shape our own path, making life rich and full of possibilities.